Last time we talked about Disney's latest animated feature, Encanto. Today we want to go a little bit further back and direct the spotlight on the much discussed Asian-inspired Raya and the Last Dragon. I'm Jacob with Channel Frederator, and these are 107 facts about Raya and the Last Dragon. Fact number 1. The movie has Southeast Asian roots and is set in a world inspired by Southeast Asian cultures and peoples. Number 2. The time period of the film is set somewhere between the 9th and 12th centuries. Number 3. The filmmakers visited Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, Indonesia, Malaysia, and Singapore. This trip eventually inspired the themes of the movie, the main theme being trust. Number 4. If you've watched the trailer or the movie itself, some of you might have experienced the sense of déjà vu, so maybe it's not surprising to hear that the movie indeed has a lot of things in common with Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is another popular Asian-inspired world, though that is not to say that all fantasy worlds with inspirations from Eastern Asia or Southeast Asia are the same or even similar, but here are some of the biggest examples of similarities between Avatar and Raya. Number 5. Overall, it's fair to say that Avatar and Raya have a common narrative structure. Both take place in a big divided world that's fractured into opposing lands. In both universes, there was a group of people or species with great spirituality and magical powers gone extinct who had a sole survivor. And during their journey, the main protagonist encounters people from different regions of the world who become important allies and eventually befriend their rival. Number 6. There's also the undeniable similarity of young Raya, who looks a lot like Korra, and her father Benja, whose mask resembles Zuko's alter ego as the Blue Spirit. Number 7. And wouldn't you know, Benja is voiced by none other than Daniel Dae Kim, who voiced General Thong in Avatar: The Last Airbender and Asami's father Hiroshi Sato in The Legend of Korra. A look at the credits also reveals an appearance of Jenny Kwan, who's the voice of Suki in Avatar. Number 8. And to top it all off, the movie's musical score was composed by James Newton Howard, who's also the composer of The Last Airbender movie. Though it would be fair if you, maybe don't want to go ahead and advertise that similarity. Number 9. Raya is the first animated Disney princess to have the same voice actress as a child and an adult. Number 10. Before Kelly Marie Tran was cast as Raya, Cassie Steele was originally going to be her voice, but during the development phase there was a key change in Raya's personality, so the team decided that Steele was no longer a perfect fit for Raya. Instead, they found Tran to be a more fitting embodiment of the character. Number 11. Of the 6 main characters, 2 of the voice actors are Southeast Asian. Talia Tran, who voices Noi, is Vietnamese, and Isaac Wang, the voice of Boone, who is Laotian American. However, most of the cast is East Asian. Number 12. Kelly Marie Tran is Vietnamese and voices Disney's first Southeast Asian protagonist. Number 13. Incidentally, Tran was also the first Asian American woman to be featured in the Star Wars franchise after landing the role of Rose Tico. Number 14. With this movie, Raya would be the one to take the 13th throne of the Disney princesses. Number 15. Technically though, as of the time of this video, Disney has not yet officially added Raya to their Disney princess lineup, so it's all, theoretical. Number 16. Raya's quote, "Here's the sitch," in the beginning of the movie is a nod to Kim Possible's catchphrase. Number 17. Each character that Raya encounters on her journey represents one of the 5 divided lands. Number 18. Each land of Kumandra represents and is named after one of the 5 parts of a dragon: heart, tail, talon, spine, and fang. Number 19. The distinct design of each land was inspired by the region's distinct characteristics and personalities. Number 20. At the beginning of the movie, Raya is 12, then there's a time skip that covers the events of the story 6 years later when she's 18. Number 21. In the early drafting phase, when Raya met Sisu, the latter was trapped in her human form and refused to cooperate with Raya. This is different from the final version, in which Sisu's character was portrayed as full of hope and helpfulness. Number 22. Raya's personality was a bit different too. According to production designer Paul Felix, Raya was a no-nonsense swordswoman focused on her goal of finding Sisu and bringing her father back. Eventually, Raya's personality softened in later story phases. Number 23. Sisu shares many similarities with another Disney character, the genie from Aladdin. Both are blue magical beings awakened by the main protagonist after several centuries of dormancy, and both are self-aware of modern-day culture. Number 24. Although while the genie was asleep for 10,000 years, Sisu was asleep for 500 years. Number 25. The name Raya seems to have several meanings. In Slavic countries, it's a form of the name Reina, which means queen. In Indonesian, it means great. If you pair her name up with the Malay word bunga, it means flower. Bunga Raya means celebratory flower. In Malaysia, this would be the hibiscus, which is the national flower of Malaysia. The flower symbolizes the celebration of unity in a multicultural nation and stands as a national symbol. This perfectly aligns with Raya's goal of reuniting the lands of Kumandra. Number 26. Raya's look was inspired by the research in Southeast Asia. The designers initially wanted an all-leather outfit for her because she was a warrior, but this wasn't possible because of Kumandra's largely tropical environment, and it'd have been too hot for her. They instead looked at the more breathable styles of the region and landed on the sabai top and dhoti pants, which you can see her wearing. Number 27. Raya's costume, later consisting of a big hat and cape with a high collar, represents Raya's grown mistrust towards others. Number 28. Young Raya's costume consists of rich, woven silk and brocade, which are exquisite fabrics often associated with Southeast Asia. Number 29. Raya's sword is inspired by kris or karis, which is an ancient dagger in Indonesian folklore with a modern take. Raya's sword is high-tech, and its handles allow her to extend the blade so that she can grab or hook things with it, or to change direction when she rides on tuk-tuk. Number 30. In previous versions of the story, Raya made her own fantasy weapons, including a bunch of bells she could drag to distract the baddies, or a customized arm cannon that could fire off spark balls to stun them. Number 31. Raya is ambidextrous. Number 32. Raya's hand-to-hand fighting style is inspired by pencak silat from Indonesia and Muay Thai, and her weapon style is inspired by arnis, also known as kali, from the Philippines. Number 33. Some of Raya's character was inspired by the Marvel Comics character Star-Lord, because he was the only superhero that had any of the nuance that could fit Raya, and the movie makers couldn't find a female superhero with any of those qualities. Number 34. Raya's animal companion and best friend Tuk-Tuk is an amalgamation of a pillbug, pug, and pangolin, and was also inspired by doodlebugs. Number 35. In Thailand, a tuk-tuk is a vehicle used as urban transportation in cities such as Bangkok, which is fitting for said character. Number 36. Sisu is a water dragon inspired by the so-called Naga, and we don't mean Korra's polar bear dog, that would have been too many parallels. Nagas are mythical, powerful beings in Southeast Asian folklore who are able to manifest as a serpent or a human. Number 37. Even in her human form, Sisu's costume bears symbols of her real dragon form. The phrase on the bottom of her jacket are reminiscent of her fins, and her long sash is reminiscent of her tail. Number 38. All the dragons shown in the movie are related to water. Number 39. According to the original draft of the movie, which was reportedly titled Dragon Empire, Sisu was originally a male dragon known as Katsu and greatly resembled the Chinese dragon. Number 40. The creative teams created over 200 variants of plants, shrubs, and trees to invoke the feeling of a fantastical world with environments unlike our own. This includes vegetation commonly found in Southeast Asia like bamboo and plumeria. Number 41. Kumandra's Dragon River is inspired by the Mother River of Southeast Asia, the Mekong River. Number 42. Each of the 5 lands in the world of Kumandra has a different worldview and different climate, as can be seen in the movie. Number 43. The Land of Heart reveres dragons the most, which is reflected in the region's costume. Raya's costumes has elements representing the dragons, like, obviously, dragons, and raindrops, which are the motifs of heart. Her pants have a stylized dragon pattern, and you can see embossed textures meant to represent raindrops on her jacket. Finally, her hat has dragon scales carved into its lip. Number 44. Heart is aspirational and hopeful and is an island surrounded by water, which is the element of the ancient revered dragons. Number 45. Tail is the most geographically remote and underdeveloped of the 5 lands, and is said to be a desert haven for outliers and scavengers. Number 46. The people of Tail used to live off the Dragon River and travel on water, but the water became more scarce after the break of the Dragon Gem, which makes sense considering the gem used to harbor the dragons of, well, water. Number 47. According to Larry Wu, the head of environments, it's always sunny in Tail, which was inspired by the Wild West. Number 48. In contrast, Talon is bustling and chaotic, full of merchants and traders vying for attention to make a buck. Number 49. The Talon lands are said to be the trading crossroads of the 5 lands, aka a melting pot. Number 50. The floating city on the Dragon River was inspired by real-life counterparts, Southeast Asia's water markets on the Mekong River in Vietnam and the night markets of Thailand and Laos. Number 51. Spine, which is located in a black bamboo forest on a snowy mountainside, is insular and defensive. Number 52. Spine's climate differs from most regions found in Southeast Asia. The cold and snowy temperature allowed the visual development team to repurpose the multi-windowed high rooftop structures that are commonly found in Laos and Indonesia so that the rooftops serve as ventilation for smoke from fire rather than to ventilate heat. Number 53. Meanwhile, Fang is all about power, in keeping with the motto, might is right. Number 54. Fang used to be located on the peninsula before its inhabitants moved to a small island of their own creation in order to ward off the Droon's attacks. Number 55. Each of the 5 lands' personalities eventually were represented visually. Number 56. Heart is represented in a blue color palette with its motifs suggesting fluid water shapes. Number 57. Tail's architecture reflects the resourcefulness of its people by incorporating found objects and scrap metals into the designs. Number 58. Loud, flashy Talon became full of layers of bright, bold, and colorful patterns. The overall shape of Talon's architecture and environment was additionally inspired by seafood. If you look closely, the roof lines have a fish shape, so now we know that the merchant deals aren't the only thing about this place that are fishy. Number 59. The shape of Talon Chief Dang Hai's home was inspired by an anglerfish. The protruding poles resemble the many kinds of poles used on the Mekong River. Number 60. Fortifications dominated in Spine, with defensive spikes and weapon imagery. Number 61. Fang's ferocity was reinforced in repetition of strong, bold, and sharp geometric shapes. Number 62. The design team also looked at shared underlying design principles in Southeast Asia for inspiration, one of which is a belief system of cosmology. Number 63. The cosmology of Kumandra and each individual land was represented through icons inspired by the mandala, which is a unique geometric configuration of symbols that often informs architectural designs of temples in Southeast Asia. Number 64. The icon for Heart represents the round dragon gem and includes another connection to its dragon mythology, which can be found in the form of the icon's rain droplet ripples. Number 65. The slope of Raya's hat is an homage to stupas, which can be found in Southeast Asian temples. Number 66. Fang is philosophically at odds with Heart, hence why its icon is full of squares. Number 67. Talon's icon is meant to convey the feeling of an explosion, where everything is connected with dots, very spider-webby. Number 68. If you look closely, Spine's icon looks like the inside of a bamboo. Fitting for a folk located in a bamboo forest, but maybe a bit too on the nose. Number 69. Last but not least, Tail's icon reflects a place where everything is a little bit scattered. Number 70. These icons became the basis for each land's city or village layout. Taken together, the 5 lands that make up Kumandra are represented by a 5-pointed pentagon shape, which you can see in various locations, prop elements, and costumes throughout the movie. Number 71. The temple designs of each land also represent the land's connection to their central belief system. Because of its deep spiritual connection to its dragon mythology, the temple in Heart is built in round shapes, whereas Tail is very minimal, hence why their temple is rather subtle so that it's barely noticeable. Number 72. Heart's natural landmark is a massive rock that was formerly called the Eye, on top of which the Heart Temple is located. Number 73. The idea for the symbolic Heart Bridge where Raya's father holds his inspiring speech came to the movie makers when thinking about Benja's role of bridging the gaps between the disparate lands, leading them to create a literal bridge. Number 74. The flowers which are located around the pond where the dragon gem is kept here are called Kumandra flowers, which light up when the dragon gem is near. Thematically, the flower represents the idea that one light can light the world. Number 75. The Heart Forest's design was inspired by the Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Number 76. The dragon gem was inspired by real-world gems such as quartz, fluorite, and opals. Number 77. The people of Fang were originally conceived as villains. Number 78. Which also includes Namaari, who controlled the Droon and was more of a traditional Disney villain in a very early story version. Number 79. In earlier designs, Namaari used to have fangs whenever she bared her teeth. Kinda wish they'd kept this one because it would have been on brand for someone from a place called Fang, but maybe that would have been, again, too on the nose. Number 80. Namaari's hand-to-hand combat style is inspired by Muay Thai and Vav Nivam from Vietnam. Her weapon style is inspired by Krabi Kabrong from Thailand. Number 81. Just like Raya, Namaari too has animal companions called Surlet cats, whose designs were inspired by Karagoz and servals. At least those guys got fangs. Number 82. Young Namaari's clothes include insignia that symbolize her homeland, Fang. Number 83. Originally, the movie was supposed to be much more violent based on an earlier script. A cut scene from the movie included broken bones and other graphic details. At the time, it was even speculated whether or not the movie was going to receive an R rating. Number 84. In the drafting process, the creative team knew that they wanted to have Sisu die at one point in the movie in order for Raya to learn to trust other people rather than rely on a magical being to solve all of her problems. But it was unclear whether or not Sisu and the other dragons would actually return. Number 85. The Tail Chief is the only chief to be deceased instead of getting petrified by the Droon. Number 86. While not explicitly stated in the movie, the Droon are indifferent otherworldly entities that thrive on despondence and discord and multiply through absorption of human spirits. They are the physical embodiment of hopelessness. Number 87. In an early story version, Raya was known as the fearsome dragon blade and tail that traveled the lands and fought the Droon. This later changed so that the Droon became these ethereal and unfightable beings instead of being sentient and fightable. Number 88. Raya is the first non-Pixar Disney princess to not sing, and the second Disney princess after Merida in Pixar's Brave. Again, assuming Disney adds her to the Disney princess trademark canon. Number 89. Raya and the Last Dragon is Walt Disney Animation Studios' first fantasy film since Brother Bear to not be a musical. Number 90. It's also Walt Disney Animation Studios' first film since Chicken Little without any involvement from John Lasseter, following his departure from all of Disney's animation areas. Number 91. Most of Awkwafina's lines as Sisu were ad-libbed and improvised, similar to Robin Williams when he voiced the genie in Aladdin and David Spade when he voiced Kuzco in The Emperor's New Groove. Number 92. This is the first Walt Disney Animation Studios movie to be executive produced by Jennifer Lee, who previously wrote and directed the Frozen duology. Number 93. This is Walt Disney Animation Studios' 60-second feature film and the first one of the 2020s. Number 94. The word Binturi is used as an insult along the lines of enemy or traitor. Number 95. The official Raya and the Last Dragon Jr. novel reveals that the word Depla is used as a term of endearment meaning best friend in the Kumandran language. The term also seems to be derived from the Vietnamese word Dep, which translates to beautiful in English. Guess we can check off friends to enemies to lovers for our list then. Number 96. In fact, Raya's voice actor Kelly Marie Tran supports the popular ship. While recording her dialogue, Kelly Marie Tran personally interpreted Raya and Namari's relationship as romantic. By Tran's own admission, however, this was not made official by Disney. Number 97. Raya and the Last Dragon is only the 9th movie by Walt Disney Animation Studios to not be based off any existing work, after The Lion King, Dinosaur, Lilo and Stitch, Brother Bear, Home on the Range, The Wild, Bolt, and Zootopia. Well, The Lion King is partially based on Hamlet, and there is that whole Kimba the White Lion thing, but whatever. Number 98. It's also the first Disney animated feature movie since The Fox and the Hound that's the first movie of a new decade to not release in the first year of that decade. Number 99. Tail Chief Dang Hai's mother, Dang Hu, is inspired by co-screenwriter Ki Huin's immigrant mother. Number 100. According to the official art book, Raya is 5 feet 8 inches tall. Number 101. Boone's origin underwent some changes in the story development phase. Originally, he was a mechanic from Tail who got hired by Raya to fix one of Tuk Tuk's tires when a Droon arm got stuck in it. In another version, Boone was a hustler of knickknacks from Talon, and last but not least, he became a seller of shrimp rice soup on his shrimp boat in Tail. They do say that people in the business world wear a lot of hats. Number 102. The 3 cute animal companions of Noi are called Ongis, who are part monkey and part catfish. Number 103. If you watch real closely, you might spot beloved animal sidekick Hey Hey from Disney's Moana with a basket over his head when Raya visits the Talon marketplace. Number 104. The food in the movie is meant to symbolize Raya's arc and the strong sense of community common to cultures in Southeast Asia. Young Raya is seen to be sharing her food with her father Benja, but since she's been left to her own devices, she's had to learn how to eat with other people again and even adds to the shared food. Number 105. The cinematography, too, reflects Raya's character arc by using narrow color palettes and high contrast for conveying her distrust towards others, and using broad colors and lower contrast for trust. Number 106. The art that's seen in the movie's end credits was created in under 2 weeks. And number 107. Nearly all shot production for Raya and the Last Dragon took place from the homes of more than 450 artists and crew members. In total, more than 900 Walt Disney Animation Studios employees worked remotely contributing to this film. The credits also list 42 babies born to the crew during the movie's production. Did you enjoy our list? What fact do you think we missed? Let us know in the comments below, and while you're there, be sure to like and subscribe to see more great videos. And remember, Frederator loves you.